Sometimes you stumble across an idea and it's just so out there, so wild, that you can't help but want to dig deeper.
Definitely. It's like that feeling of stumbling onto a conspiracy theory rabbit hole. You should probably step away.
But you just got to see where it leads, right?
Exactly. And this Melerigami thing, it's definitely got that vibe.
Yeah, the sources you send over, ancient practices, hidden knowledge, talk about manifesting your deepest desires.
Yeah, it's like a blend of every self-help book and ancient mystery ever.
And you know me.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff.
Well, that's why we're here, right? To dive deep and see if there's anything really there or if it's all smoke and mirrors.
Exactly. So let's talk about those claims. I mean, where do we even begin? Wealth, status, a sense of ultimate purpose. It's all up for grabs, apparently, if you master this Melerigami thing.
Right. And all from a surprisingly simple practice. Or at least that's how the source makes it sound.
Which is what makes me a little skeptical, if I'm being honest. It just seems a little too good to be true, doesn't it?
It definitely sets off some alarm bells. There's often a catch with these things, right?
Exactly. And speaking of catches, the source also talks about achieving inner peace and balance through Melerigami.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Well, if you're using it to chase material possessions, wouldn't that lead to more wanting, more striving, basically the opposite of peace?
That's a good point. It's like that old saying, be careful what you wish for. Even if you could manifest your deepest desires, wouldn't that just create new ones?
Exactly. It's a recipe for an endless cycle of wanting.
And that's where this idea of Melerigami takes an interesting turn. The source lays out what it calls the 4 pillars of Melerigami, almost like a code of conduct. Maybe these pillars address that potential pitfall.
Okay, now that you mention it, I do remember something about 4 pillars. There were connection, energy, something else, and
gratitude and the law of attraction.
Yes, those were the 4. All right, let's break down these pillars. What is this Melerigami wisdom trying to tell us? All right, so first up is this connection pillar. What's the Melerigami take on connection? Is it about, like, making friends with the universe or something?
That's actually not far off. Imagine meditating, but instead of focusing inward, you're trying to connect with something infinitely larger than yourself.
Okay, that sounds a little daunting. Like trying to have a conversation with every grain of sand on the beach at the same time?
It's definitely a lot to wrap your head around. And the source doesn't give any concrete instructions on how exactly to achieve this universal connection.
So it's more of a, what do you call it, a feeling, a state of being.
Exactly. It's about tapping into this underlying oneness of everything. At least that's what the source seems to be suggesting.
Right. And I'm guessing this connection is key to the whole manifesting your desires thing.
That's where the second pillar comes in, energy and willpower. The source suggests that once you've established this universal connection, setting intentions becomes way more powerful.
So it's like you're not just putting your desires out there into the void, but you're actually channeling this cosmic energy to make them happen.
It's presented in a similar way to the law of attraction, yeah.
No.
But Melerigami emphasizes that it's not just about wishful thinking. It takes effort, focus, willpower.
Okay, so it's not just about wishing on a star. You gotta, like, build a rocket ship yourself.
That's a good way to put it. And that brings us to the third pillar, which adds another layer to this whole process. Gratitude.
Ah, right, gratitude. So it's not just about what you want, but also appreciating what you already have. Classic self-help advice.
It is a common theme, but the source suggests that gratitude plays a crucial role in Melerigami. It's about shifting your perspective from a place of lack to a place of abundance.
So by appreciating what you have, you're creating this positive energy that helps you manifest even more good things. Is that the idea?
That's the gist of it. And this leads us to the final pillar, which ties everything together. The law of attraction.
Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff. Everyone loves a bit of live attraction talk. So how does Melerigami approach this concept? Is it the same old like attracts like philosophy?
It's presented in a slightly different light. Remember those first 3 pillars: connection, energy and willpower, and gratitude. The source suggests that the law of attraction isn't some mystical force, but a natural consequence of mastering those first 3 pillars.
So it's like those 3 pillars create the foundation, and the law of attraction is what naturally flows from that foundation.
Precisely. It's about aligning yourself with the frequency of your desires through connection, focused intention, and a grateful mindset.
It's almost like Melerigami is saying you're not really attracting anything from the outside, but rather drawing it out from within yourself.
That's a really interesting interpretation. And it speaks to the idea that maybe this Melerigami thing, whether or not it's a genuine ancient practice, might have stumbled upon some universal truths about personal growth and manifestation.
So you're saying if we master these 4 pillars, we're basically guaranteed a life of abundance and bliss. Like, sign me up, right?
Well, the source does suggest that Melerigami could be used to address bigger societal issues like poverty and inequality.
But you're a little hesitant about that.
Let's just say I'm a bit more grounded in reality. While the idea of a practice that could uplift entire communities is a beautiful thought,
It's probably not quite as simple as that.
exactly. It's like any tool or philosophy, it has the potential for positive change, but it's not a magic bullet. Think of it like mindfulness, for example. It's been shown to have great benefits for stress reduction and emotional regulation.
Right, it's popular for a reason.
But it hasn't exactly solved all of society's problems, has it? Melerigami, even if it's as effective as the source claims, would likely face similar limitations.
Okay, so maybe we shouldn't expect Melerigami to usher in a utopia anytime soon. But even on an individual level, there's something that's been bugging me.
What's that?
Well, for something that's supposedly ancient and deeply rooted in history, we couldn't find any hard evidence to back it up. No ancient texts, no mention in historical records, nothing.
You're right to point that out. The lack of verifiable historical evidence is a major red flag. It makes those casual references to Einstein and Shakespeare supposedly knowing about Melerigami even more suspect.
Yeah, like, come on, if Einstein was into Melerigami, wouldn't we have heard about it by now?
Exactly. It highlights how easily ideas, especially compelling ones, can get attributed to famous figures without any real basis.
So are you saying Melerigami might be a much more modern invention than the source lets on? Honestly, part of me is a little disappointed.
I understand that. There's a certain allure to ancient wisdom, a sense of timelessness and authority.
Like discovering a lost scroll that reveals the secrets of the universe.
Exactly. But here's a different perspective. What if it's even more fascinating if Melerigami is a more recent creation? It speaks to this deep human need to create meaning, to find something larger than ourselves to believe in.
So even if Melerigami is a more recent invention, it's still tapping into something very human, very universal.
Precisely. And that might be even more interesting than if it were some ancient, forgotten practice. It would mean that we as humans are still very much capable of creating compelling narratives that resonate deeply with us.
That's a really fascinating way to look at it. So instead of getting bogged down in the origins of Melerigami, maybe we should focus on the ideas themselves.
Absolutely. The emphasis on connection, intention, gratitude, these aren't new concepts by any means. They're found in various forms across different cultures and philosophies throughout history.
It's like Melerigami took these timeless ideas, packaged them up in a shiny new wrapper, and called it an ancient secret.
And that shiny new wrapper certainly caught our attention, didn't it? But at the end of the day, whether or not we choose to call it Melerigami, the underlying principles still hold value.
So maybe the real magic of Melerigami, if you will, isn't about some ancient secret, but rather the power of these ideas to inspire personal growth and maybe even societal change.
That's a great takeaway. It reminds us that we don't need all the answers. We don't need some ancient secret to be revealed to start making positive changes in our lives and in the world around us.
This deep dive might have left us with more questions than answers.
That's often the case with these deep dives, isn't it?
True that. But hey, that's what makes it fun, right? It gives us something to ponder, something to keep exploring. And who knows, maybe someday we'll uncover the real truth behind Melerigami. But until then,
The mystery remains.
the mystery remains. And with that, we'll leave you to ponder the mysteries of Melerigami. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and as always, keep diving deep.